After 8 years, the epic genre-redefining cartoon Adventure Time is finally coming to an end. If you're anything like me, you're gonna need a quick refresher before the finale because oh my glob, Adventure Time is about way more than a goofy kid and his magic dog saving princesses. Adventure Time's lore is deep. We're talking creation myths, cosmic deities, time travel, and the gooey politics of a fictional world that gets way too morally gray for a children's show. Now, I just want to say up front, this is by no means a complete history of Adventure Time. I would need literally hours to explain everything. But this video should be enough to give you what you'll need to enjoy the finale. So, come along with me. I'm Chris Carr, and this is your crash course to Adventure Time.
Oh, yeah.
The origins of the Adventure Time multiverse are a little heady, but you can think of it like the Book of Genesis. Only instead of there being nothing but God before the creation of existence, there was nothing but monsters. Just like an infinite plane of gross, twisted Cthulhu guys writhing in chaos. Somehow all these monsters came to an agreement as to what reality would be, and poof, the multiverse was born. The very structure of reality is upheld by the perceptions of its inhabitants. And because of this, beings with enough creativity are able to bend it to their will and create magic. Eventually, the planet Earth was formed, built on the pillars of 4 powerful elements: fire, ice, candy, and slime. I know what you're thinking. What is this Avatar, the Last Snotbender? And yeah, it's kinda exactly that. Each of these elements are embodied by powerful wizards known as elementals, who are reincarnated generation to generation. The most notable elemental of early history is an ice elemental by the name of Urgence Evergreen. Existing at the tail end of the Cretaceous period, Evergreen uses his magic and intellect to create a wish-granting crown, built to prevent a massive comet from hitting the planet and extinguishing life on Earth. But before Evergreen can use the crown, he gets bopped by a 3-eyed Dumbo, and the fate of the world rests in the hands of his assistant, Gunther. Gunther's deepest wish, however, isn't to stop global cataclysm, but to become like his mentor, and transforms into a knockoff Evergreen, dooming the planet in the process. This crown will eventually fall into the hands of the Ice King, granting him the powers Gunther so desperately sought. Also, fun fact, Evergreen's crown was also once possessed by Santa Claus, but bah humbug, most of the characters don't know who that lump is.
The Santa? Nope, doesn't ring a bell.
Back to the comets for a second. Comets play an important role in Adventure Time. Every 1,000 years, a mystic comet strikes the planet, bringing with it an agent of change. Agents of change are key players in the fate of the world, and like elementals, they're destined to be reincarnated over and over again. The Green Catalyst Comet brought with it the evil monster known as the Lich, and future comets would introduce the souls of heroes Jake the Dog and Finn the Human to Earth. Yeah, you heard it right. Finn and Jake are reincarnated, like Link and Zelda. Finn's first life was as a dainty butterfly, yo! An evil cosmic deity known as the Orgolorg once tried to absorb the power of the Catalyst Comet, but was ultimately crushed under its force and was transformed into the penguin fans know and love as Gunther. This brings us to the modern era, where mankind reigns supreme. With the rise of civilization came the fall of magic, as Earth's inhabitants developed a rigid mindset that dwindled the creativity needed to bend reality. Not all magic was lost, however. An archaeologist by the name of Simon Petrikov would come into possession of Evergreen's crown, which would slowly corrupt him into the Ice King. An unnamed woman would also give birth to a half-human, half-demon child, Marceline. And the 4 elementals would find themselves reborn, with albeit limited powers. Sensing an impending nuclear holocaust, the ice elemental Patient St. Pim freezes herself in a chrysalis at the bottom of the ocean. And then kaboom! The Great Mushroom War happens. Atomic bombs mutate those that aren't outright killed by the blast, and the rippling effects of Armageddon opens a doorway for magic and the Lich to return. Also, portals to other dimensions, like the Crystal Dimension, full of human-eating rainicorns. In the aftermath of the apocalypse, Simon finds Marceline wandering the wastelands alone. He becomes her sole caretaker for several years, rationing the use of Evergreen's crown to protect her from mutants and zombies. Eventually, Simon succumbs to the crown's will and fully transforms into the Ice King, leaving Marceline so that he can create a kingdom of ice. Marceline briefly comes in contact with her father, Hunton Abadir, the demon lord of the Nightosphere, aka Cartoon Satan. The family reunion only lasts 9 days, however, as Marceline quickly learns that her absentee father is a major wang. Like, seriously, the dude eats her fries. That alone is grounds for emancipation. Around this time, vampires become a thing, and the surviving humans of Earth start wearing animal skin hats to protect their necks. That, folks, is the in-canon reason why Finn wears a cute little bear hat. Marceline ends up joining a band of humans and becomes their protector, hunting down the vamps and soul-stealing their kick-ass vampire powers. This fellowship comes to an end when the Vampire King closes in on the small tribe. Marceline is able to hold off the Vampire King, but in the process of killing him, is bitten, turning her into a human-demon-vampire hybrid. The humans part ways with the newly titled Vampire Queen and eventually colonize a chain of islands that Finn and his family descend from. Over the course of the next 1,000 years, the landscape of the western United States drastically transforms into the magical land of Oo. The greatest historical figure of this time is none other than Princess Bonnibel Bubblegum, who single-handedly builds herself a kingdom. Bubblegum was born alongside her brother Nettie from the mutated remains of the previous candy elemental, the Mother Gum. Hubba hubba. Oh, yeah, that's gross. I'm talking about irradiated chewing gum. Get your life together, Car! Anyway, Nettie is extremely sensitive and prone to fearful outbursts, but finds solace in suckling on the branches of a candy tree. To protect her brother, Bonnibel builds her empire around Nettie and his favorite tree. As a bonus, the sacred Nidhogg secretes powerful healing candy juice. That sweet dragon sweat is sweet, yo! Lonely, Bonnibel uses her vast intellect to play Dr. Frankenstein and creates an uncle, aunt, and cousin out of spare gum. Enter Uncle Gumbald, Bonnibel's rival to the candy throne. Everything with the Gum family seems hunky-dory until Gumbald decides to cut down the taffy trees, build a cabin, and hopes to build a candy city. Bonnie is ultra not down with this plan, so she creates Lake Butterscotch exactly where Gumball wanted to build his city. Girl, don't you know how hard it is to find affordable housing around a waterfront? Your people need options. It's like Bobby from Queer Eye. Only one person is doing all the work, and they all look fabulous in pink. Gumbald is pissed and plots with the other Gum relatives, Lolly and Cheeklate, to turn Peebs into a simple-minded, docile cream puff like, well, Mr. Cream Puff. Gumbald creates a happy dum-dum juice that will do just the trick. And Gumbald is just such a big, bad bit of chew that he even tricks his co-conspirators to drink it, turning them into Manfred and Crunchy. Bonnibel sees all this unfold, though, and splashes the juice on Gumbald's face, dumbing him down into a happy-go-lucky punch bowl. Seeing the potential in unquestioning and confident masses, Princess Bubblegum creates a nation of obedient, dim-witted candy subjects to form the Candy Kingdom. Over the course of hundreds of years, the Candy Kingdom becomes the continental superpower of Ooh, complete with a working electrical grid, giant sentinels, and law-enforcing assassins. And sure, her assassins had to be assassinated themselves because they were too violent, but by gumdrops, this girl got results! Seriously though, Peebee's rise to power has some serious moral implications, but maybe that's a chat for another day. Let's just hand-wave away any fascist undertones for now, because the show plays her off as a well-meaning control freak and love interest. While all the kingdoms of Ooh are developing, the Lich has been gathering his power behind the scenes for nearly 1,000 years. Before he's able to annihilate all of existence, the great hero Billy uses his magic gauntlet to push the Lich into a sap prison at the heart of Nettie's tree. And now, finally, with all that established, we've come to the point in Ooh's timeline where Finn and Jake get to start punching evil witches for fun. Ironically, we're not actually going to spend much time on Finn's backstory. There's so much to cover, but very little of it appears to factor into the series finale. That said, the basics are as follows. Finn is good with a sword, hella bad at math, and only fears the ocean. His mother was a super smart doctor lady who ended up uploading her brain into a network of medical droids, and his father is a groovy space scoundrel who lost Finn at sea when fleeing from assassins. Dogs Joshua and Margaret discover Finn stuck to a leaf by his own boom boom in the woods and decide to raise him alongside their own pups Jake and Jermaine. Jake's magic because his father was impregnated by a shapeshifter. Together, Jake and Finn form an unbeatable adventuring duo. They help Princess Bubblegum protect the Candy Kingdom, and Finn develops an unrequited crush on her. They constantly get into scuffles with the Ice King, who becomes their main enemy in Season 1 since his favorite pastime is kidnapping princesses. The Ice King is small potatoes next to the Lich, though, who's able to break free from his amber prison by catching a ride on the Easter egg snail that appears in every episode of the show. The Lich eventually possesses Billy the hero and tricks Finn and Jake into opening the portal to the Time Room, the origin point of time throughout the multiverse. Inside the Time Room, the Lich attempts to use the powers of Prismo the Wishmaster to end all life in the multiverse. But, with a little help from Jake, Prismo monkey paws the Lich, freezing him into stasis. Got him! But not, because later in the series, the Lich breaks free, kills Prismo, and gets a free go straight to jail, do not pass go card to escape the Time Room. Inside the prison for the multiverse's greatest criminals, the Lich stages a jailbreak. Finn is able to stop the Lich from escaping by spraying him with life-restoring cosmic space police blood, turning the Lich into a giant man-baby. Unfortunately, during the events of the breakout, Finn loses his arm and is left with a small flower in its place. This flower is the remnants of the cursed grass sword Finn acquired in Season 5 that is bound to Finn for eternity. The baby Lich is entrusted in the care of Finn's elderly elephant friend Tree Trunks, who's actually one bad Mama Jamma, so it only seems like a ridiculous pairing on the surface. As of the penultimate episode, Sweet Baby P is still bopping around like a sweet little man, but I wouldn't count the Lich out for the finale. As for Finn's arm, it grows back 4 episodes later, but he loses it once again in Season 7 when the cursed grass sword inside his arm fuses with the Finn sword to create Fern. What's the Finn sword, you ask? Well, obviously, it's the sword forged by the sacrifice of a Finn from an alternate dimension to save Prismo. Duh. Anyway, Fern emerges like a little sentient ounce of herb, but eventually starts to look like Finn. But a grass Finn. He even starts talking. And when your weed starts talking to you, that's a great place to cut yourself off. This chatty long clipping reveals that he believes himself to be Finn and possessed all of Finn's memories. Now, ain't that the problem with clones? It's like that episode of Amazing Spider-Man where you find out Mary Jane Watson isn't the real Mary Jane Watson, but instead is just a bunch of water. Or in Batman the Animated Series when the little girl is actually a fragment of Clayface. You know, that sort of heartbreaking schniz? Cartoons, stop making me feel things for all the Dolly the Sheeple! Back to Fern. The real Finn and Jake tell Ferngully that he's a fake and a demon, and no one likes being told they're an agent of Satan, so the dude gets understandably upset. Frustrated and confused, he trashes the treehouse and scares the bejesus out of little BMO, who calls Jake and Finn back home to fix the schniz. Finn realizes that it's pretty messed up to tell a fully realized clone of yourself that they aren't real, so he offers Fern a Finn cake, a cake only for Finns, and that calms him down. But then, oh no, Fern can't even eat food! But he's got all those memories of eating food, so that's a real nightmare. Then we come to Three Buckets, an episode I've previously described as the single white female of Adventure Time. It's a Lifetime movie disguised as an Adventure Time episode. Fern can make himself now look identical to Finn. So how better to utilize that skill than stealing Finn's life?
You've been Finn long enough. It's my turn.
The fudge does that mean? Fern locks Finn behind a stone door and sets off to live his life. Finn's life. You get it. Finn discovers his arm can break down the door, then sets it to Weed Whacker mode. Then it's all Clone Wars up in this and Fern and Finn fight. And then... Oof, forget Roundup. Finn can take care of all your stubborn weeds. So it seems Fern is dead, but...
Almost done, champ. There you go.
Who's that? Well, to answer that question, we've got just one more little story arc in the way. Remember that old ice elemental Patient St. Pim? Well, somewhere between all the lich hunting and weed whacking, Finn, Jake, and the Ice King were able to wake her up from her hibernation. And what's the first thing she does? Takes a page out of the Ice King's playbook and kidnaps some princesses. Specifically, PB, Slime Princess, and Finn's ex-gal, Flame Princess. Why? Because these gals are the latest incarnations of Earth's elementals. They were right in front of us the whole time! Patience wants the girls to reach their full potential and become gods, but the princesses ain't having any of that. What's a girl to do but kidnap the Ice King's magic fiancé and use her as a battery to force their hand? Oh yeah, the Ice King's fiancé from before the Mushroom War is a thing. It's a whole time travel hubbubaloo. She steals Magic Man's powers and is dead set on getting Simon back, even though she's going insane with power herself. Anyway, she's a battery now, so. Long story short, Patience uses Betty to supercharge the princesses, and Ooh becomes a hellscape once again. Bubblegum is candyfying everything in her kingdom. Slime Princess is absorbing people left and right, and FP has become a flaming dragon of rage! But, plot twist, Finn discovers a fifth element, and it ain't love. It be lumps. Turns out, LSP is actually the Lumpy Elemental, master of lumps and negating magic. With Finn's help, Lumpy Space Princess is able to reverse the effects of Patient's spell and undo the elemental magic plaguing Ooh. Pretty cool. But in the process, she undoes the dum-dum juice keeping Gumbald and his cohorts subservient. See? It's all connected. Really makes writing a lore video a pain in the tush, but hats off to the Adventure Time writers for the long con. Gumbald's back, he's out for blood. He revives Fern as the Green Knight and crashes Finn's 17th birthday to declare war on the Candy Kingdom. Which brings us to the last episode of Adventure Time that was released, Gumbaldia. Gumbald is war-hungry and can't wait to kick his niece's butt. Finn and Jake make a last-ditch effort to stop the war before it begins, and travel to Gumbaldia to try to negotiate a treaty of sorts. Gumbald's not on board, until Jake and Finn save his life. Gumbald is so grateful that he calls off the pending attack. Or did he? Turns out, this is all just an act, and he's Legion of Doom to the Land of Ooh by collecting all of PB's, Finn's, Jake's, and Marceline's worst enemies. Who doesn't love a big Westeros fight for the throne finale? Family against family. There will be gum! So, there is your unofficial crash course to the world of Adventure Time. Let me know what you're hoping to see in the finale, and for more videos on all things Adventure Time, click to the left of my face. Thanks for chilling with me. Until next time, all things in moderation, except for your shows.